Yeah, I want to support a woman. I'd rather not. Oh my god. Mods, slap their cheeks. Never liked these women. It's okay. If you don't like women, you can support men. Equal rights and equal lefts, as I say. Women? Ew! Yucky! Alright. I hate women! Aries! Alana, can you do this, please? Okay. Chat, can you do white duck ass? Anyway, diarrhea. Anyway, as I was saying, junk food. Why junk food tastes good, but also bad?
You may be eating pre-digested food, and it turns out we're all eating more of it than we think we are.
Ultra-processed foods are often cheap and convenient, and Americans, of course, eat a lot of them.
Because
oh yeah, America loves slop. I stopped eating slop like as soon as I started getting a little bit better money. But when I was really broke, I had to eat really cheap food because it's like I couldn't afford it.
Here's the thing,
Sucks.
ultra-processed food isn't just junk food, it's showing up places you wouldn't expect. It has taken over the grocery store. And I think we all already know that it's unhealthy, addictive, and more.
Eating too many ultra-processed foods could shorten your lifespan.
Raises the
it gives you like bowel cancer and stuff.
risk of diabetes,
heart disease, fatty liver disease,
and depression.
They can cause harm similar to smoking.
Eating them too often could be taking years off your life.
But this article breaks down one of the hidden reasons that ultra-processed food is leading to all these issues. And it's not just calories or sugar or a lack of fiber. Quote, according to emerging science, it may be due to manufacturing processes that pre-digest raw food ingredients. We are eating pre-digested food. The idea of eating pre-digested food is just so viscerally awful.
Basically the opposite of farm to table.
But you know what? I love reading about how evil the food industry is because it just gives me so much drive and motivation to say, F ultra-processed food.
True! Guys, I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I got a job that was good enough for me to buy stuff like from the organic section from the store, I immediately felt better. Even though I was like working out and like going on walks all the time, it sucked eating like crappy cheap food. I couldn't afford it. I bought like chicken that was like freaking like $5 for one chicken. It was not good, man. Granted, I did eat a lot of rice, but shit.
They're making bank, tricking us all into eating something that's terrible for us. It just gives you that little extra fuel to be like, no, I'm not gonna touch any of my old favorite UPFs. Not you corn pops, not you pizza pockets.
I've never had, look, I ate bad food, but damn, I did not eat this crap. This is way too much. This is crap.
Not you ramen, not you buck.
I did eat a lot of ramen, unfortunately. That shit fricks you up. There's so much salt in it as well.
Chicken nuggets. And I'm sure many of you are the same. Like, I just cannot stand being tricked into doing something I know is bad for me. Like, it's just like, no. And hopefully today's video will give you that same vibe. By the way, my behavior change course, How to Change, is launching in March.
Ramen shit is good though. Yeah, but it doesn't make you feel good. It's just empty, like, empty carbs. And lots of sodium that lead to kidney stones if you're a male. Women aren't very predisposed to kidney stones for whatever reason. Maybe a biologist could correct me, or a doctor. But the reason is like, women aren't that predisposed for some reason.
If you want to learn the skill of change, break bad habits, and improve your relationship with yourself, this course
It's like a genetic
was
thing.
made
I
for
don't
you.
even
Click
know.
the link below for more information and get on the pre-launch list. As a thank you, anyone who signs up for the pre-launch list will receive a huge discount at the time that the program comes out. So first, what is ultra-processed food anyway? Well, it may seem obvious when I say it. It comes down to the processing. What does pre-digested mean?
Pringles.
To manufacture cheap, delicious food that is packaged for convenience, basic food crops such as corn, wheat, and potatoes are disassembled into their molecular parts. Think about that. Breaking foods down to their molecules.
Isn't that what your tummy does? Yeah, that's what your tummy's supposed to do.
That's where the ultra comes from in ultra processed. And it's this extreme level of food processing. So
Chicken nuggets are ultra processed as well because they take bones and they take bones and other guts and like little bits and pieces and break them down. Why no cheap healthy food? Because they want to make you weak so that you become dependent on the medical system. That's my belief. I know it's like a conspiracy theory and this and that, but I actually do believe that cheap food exists so that you become dependent on the medical system. There's a lot of cases like that happen to them.
So extreme that these foods are pre-digested that creates this entire category of food. It's not that it's junk food. It's not that it's pre-packaged. It's not that it's really high in sugar.
Processed foods last longer? No, it doesn't. Preservatives that you put into food last longer. You can process peanut butter into peanut butter, but put no preservatives in it, and it will last less long than a preservatives like Jif. Like a peanut butter brand with that is called Jif. Yeah.
Sugar or calories. The defining feature of ultra processed food is that you could not make it at home if you wanted to. It's only possible for these foods to exist because of modern food science. To explain the point in a more tangible way, let's think about the difference between an apple and an apple pie.
Not true with peanut butter. Oh my god, here we go. The peanut butter that is organic and has no preservatives in it, you have to keep it in the fridge. Jif, you can fucking leave in the cupboard for months and it will not rot. Use your brain. Come on. I know you have
from
one.
McDonald's. Researchers split food into 4 groups depending on their level of processing. 1. Unprocessed or minimally processed foods. 2. Processed culinary ingredients. 3. Processed foods. And 4. Ultra processed.
I have a jar of natural peanut butter as an expired date 6 months from now. If you put it in the fridge, yes. It goes bad faster if you leave it in the cupboard. Jif does not tell you to put it in the fridge. I am telling you. I have organic peanut butter. I have to put it in the fridge because it separates, because it doesn't combine as well. You have to refrigerate it after opening.
Processed foods. So 1. Unprocessed or minimally processed foods. This group is pretty self-explanatory. Apples belong to group 1. These are whole foods with nothing added. This
It's literally
level includes
fruit,
all
vegetables,
fresh, dry,
milk.
and frozen fruits and
Nice.
vegetables. Grains, meat, eggs, milk, fish, nuts, and seeds. Group 2 refers to processed culinary ingredients such as salt, sugar, butter, honey, olive oil, or spices. Now, group 3 refers to processed foods. The term processing just means that a food has undergone a change from its natural state. This level includes canned food, cured meats, wine, cheese, fresh bread. To use our apple example, applesauce, canned apples, or prepackaged apples preserved with lemon juice. So
yeah, this is like, when you get past this line, that's when it becomes a problem.
Group 3, we usually have a food product that's made up of almost all just real food. It can be baked or boiled or preserved or canned or fermented or mixed with other foods. So it's important to note that processing itself is not bad. It's when you take things too far. And group 4, ultra processed food is the definition of too far. So
Cheetos! Ooh, even the Beyond Burgers in here too. Hold on, chat, I'll move for you so you can see it yourself. Wow, look at those tasty foods.
Here is the definition given for
Yum!
group 4. Ultra-processed foods are formulations of ingredients, mostly of exclusive industrial use, typically created.
Didn't they find lead in Lunchables? Yeah, wasn't that a big deal?
created by a series of industrial techniques and processes.
Tasty.
So instead of food, it's industrial ingredients that have been created through a series of industrial techniques. See what I'm saying?
Let's move
This is
back.
the problem.
Sorry.
There's just not a lot of normal ass food in ultra processed food. And group 4 is where we find our McDonald's apple pie. See, a homemade apple pie is only a level 3 food because yeah, it's got sugar and fat and whatever else, but it's really just a combination of regular old processed ingredients you can find in any normal home or grocery store. A McDonald's apple pie, on the other hand, is a group 4 ultra processed food.
And you can freeze it, and then you can unfreeze it and deep fry it, and it lasts forever. You can't do that with an apple pie that comes from you making it or from another, from the store, from a bakery.
If vegans don't want to eat meat, why do they make their food look like meat?
Food because it's made up of a ton of industrial ingredients created by a series of industrial techniques.
Oh my god, is that my face with a clown?
And if we take a closer look at the ingredients of the apple pie, many of them are quite industrial sounding, which
Look! Freaking modified food starch, invert syrup. What the hell is that? Sunflower lecithin, L-cysteine, dough conditioner.
clues us into the fact that they must have been created through processes similar to pre-digesting, as mentioned in our article. Basic food crops such as corn, wheat, and potatoes are disassembled into their molecular parts, starchy flours, protein isolates, fats, and oils, or what manufacturers call slurries. The bulk of what is extracted is starch slurry, a milky mixture of starch and water, but we've also extracted proteins and fibers, according to a video explanation of the process from Starch Europe. Roughly half of the starch slurry goes to produce starch-based sugars and other derivatives. Those are created
tasty.
by hydrolysis, a process similar to human digestion. Next, with the help of artificial colorings, flavorings, and glue-like emulsifiers, those slurries are then heated, pounded, shaped, or extruded into any food a manufacturer can dream up.
Yeah.
So food manufacturers rip real foods apart down to
And then it make it super concentrated too. Did you know that weaning yourself off of like Cheetos and Doritos is really difficult because your taste buds become so overloaded that everything else tastes blander before? They do the same thing with McDonald's as well, so they get to make you eat more and drink more of their sodas. No.
to the molecule, turn them
Tasty.
into slurries of starches and sugars and whatever else, then combine these slurries and powders with oils and emulsifiers, and from there they could remodel them to seem exactly like the normal foods we know and love. Take potato chips for example. When they were invented, they were just really thin slices of potatoes that were fried and then served. If you have an air fryer, you could easily make potato chips at home with just 3 ingredients: a potato, oil, and salt. But let's
I've done that before. It's good.
compare that to a Pringle. A plain Pringle contains dried potatoes, vegetable oil, corn flour, cornstarch, rice flour, sugars, maltodextrin, mono and diglycerides, salt, citric acid, and wheat starch. I actually thought that was going to be way worse than that, but this is a plain Pringle, so none of the seasoning is on it. But let's investigate further. So to start, dried potatoes are likely not just whole ground potatoes, but an
No, they pulverize them into like a paste, and then they thin them out, and then they cut them out.
incredibly fine potato flake that's extracted in a similar process to what the article has been discussing. Then we have vegetable oil, which have you ever wondered exactly what vegetables go into vegetable oil? The packaging on this one shows tomatoes, celery, carrots, and spinach. But I was curious what exactly qualified as vegetable oil, so I looked up the USDA
Corn.
definition of it. So here are the requirements. It says that vegetable oil refers to any refined, bleached, filtered, and deodorized oil, and can consist of any one or a combination of the following: canola, corn, cottonseed, olive,
Ew,
safflower,
look at the background too.
soybean, sesame, and sunflower.
Yuck.
Yeah, let's name a product vegetable
Tasty.
oil and put vegetables on the container that contains little to no actual vegetables. And refining, bleaching, and deodorizing definitely all qualify as industrial processes.
Oh,
Moving
yeah, for
on,
sure,
next we have
deodorizing.
corn flour, cornstarch, rice flour, sugars, maltodextrin, and wheat starch. So at least 3 of these are these pre-digested slurries we just just learned about. So they turn those things into a paste, and then to bind
cut
them all
'em out.
together, they add in the mono and diglycerides, which are a type of oil emulsifier, which is again created through a sort of pre-digestion hydrolysis process as well. Stick everything together and shape it up into a perfectly stackable potato, corn, rice, sugar, wheat chip, and the end result is something that technically has components of real food, but is nothing like any real food you
Rain makes corn, corn makes obesity.
Damn. This is all God's fault. He makes the rain.
have ever seen. And again, the insane thing here is a potato chip really only needs 3 ingredients.
Rain is
But
God's
somehow,
tears.
with ultra processing, something so simple is turned into a frankenfood with the sole purpose of maximizing profits. And see, with the Pringle, it's junk food, right? So you're not exactly expecting it to win a prize for the most wholesome ingredients. But the
No.
problem with ultra processed food is they are everything now. Much like the regurgitated food mother birds feed their babies in the nest, ultra-processed food is quick and easy to digest, according to experts, but that's not how the human digestive system was meant
So they're turning us into baby birds,
to
man.
work. When food moves through the digestive system in ways Mother Nature didn't intend, the body loses the ability to send a signal of fullness to the brain, said Dr. David Katz, a specialist in preventative and lifestyle medicine. Your body is expecting to have to break down the nutrients in the food. So when this process is already partially completed, it's no wonder that people are so hungry. It's no wonder that people are overeating. It's no wonder that the obesity rate has been skyrocketing since at least the 80s, around the time that ultra-processed food entered the food supply in the
McDonald's came around, I think, in the 1970s when they started going really big. Yeah, the 1970s is when they started getting, like, really, like, they were popping off.
an unprecedented way. And it's not just that this food is making us hungry, it's that this food is making us crave.
It's so thin, crispy, and cheesy. And I just want to keep eating it. And eating it.
Because when something
Yeah.
is digested quickly, it's not just hitting your body quickly, it's hitting your brain quickly as well. And in the world of addiction, there is this important concept of rate of delivery. The faster the drug hits your brain, the higher you get, and the more addictive the substance
And
is.
then nothing else can replace it. Welcome to my life! Tasty Big Macs! Nom, 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 nom. Love it.
Add
Love
in
it.
just the right ratio of sugar, salt, and fat designed to tickle our taste buds and
McDonald's also does this so that you keep drinking as well. Because you're eating so much salt, to top it off, you are drinking soda. And soda neutralizes the salt, but then it makes you want something salty. It's like a vicious cycle.
an ultra-processed food that's nearly irresistible is born, said Dr. Chris Van Tuliken, author of Ultra-Processed People. It could be a pizza if you put some cheese and tomato on top. It could be a burger bun. It could be a grain bar, a breakfast cereal, an ice cream, or confectionery. They all have the same list of basic starting ingredients, he said. It's an illusion of food. It's much cheaper for food companies to destroy real foods, turn them into molecules, and then reassemble those to make anything they want.
Well, and also they can put preservatives in there so they don't lose so much money when people don't buy their stuff. You don't have to replace like bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of stuff when it goes bad because no one's buying it in time. Whereas you can fill up a store and just keep it there.
And that is
Yeah,
the
they
problem
never
right there.
spoil.
We are all eating edible food-like
Yeah.
products. These foods are products first and foremost. The only thing that they're designed to nourish is a healthy profit margin. And you see, the real problem isn't that ultra-processed foods
It's like video
Pringles
games.
exist at all. The problem is, what happens when the entire grocery store is made up of foods that barely qualify as food? And most people have no idea that this is true. Most people have no idea that they are being tricked. Like some sort of virus, the ultra-processed food category has grown to take over the entire grocery store. Foods that you'd never expect to be ultra-processed junk food products are. You know, it's one thing if people were knowingly buying junk food, right?
I stopped buying cereal from those sections like fucking 20 years ago. I started eating basically only oatmeal and like the ones that are actual grains and they're not processed.
Another thing to be purchasing a yogurt cup for your kids that promises you that it's wholesome only for it to be nutritionally comparable to an ice cream cone. And not an ice cream cone made of cream and sugar, but an ice cream cone made of modified milk ingredients, gums, and emulsifiers.
Apparently, this ice cream is so fake that they can't even call it ice cream. It's called a frozen dessert instead.
Nearly every food product.
It's true. And then when you leave it out to melt, it doesn't actually melt properly because of all the emulsifiers. They don't melt as quickly as actual ice cream. Yeah, like people did a test on it, yeah.
We consume now is designed to be unsatisfying. Let's think about the grocery store. Obviously, we have our junk food, our honey buns and Debbie cakes and Cheetos and candy and whatever else. But then we also have most breads, and not just Wonder Bread. These are all ultra processed too. Nearly all cereals, including probably 98% of the healthy cereals. Most frozen dinners.
No, not the cereals. Don't buy that shit.
Of the healthy seeming ones. Nearly every and
nah, those are gross too because they put a bunch of preservatives in that one too, even though it's frozen.
Any food directly marketed to children. Any non-dairy milk. Most.
Oh yeah. Processed milk. I will never get over the fact that there were people arguing with me when we were reacting to that milk video, saying that like milk that was what is it called, not soy but like non-milk milks, that they were still good for you. And I'm like, actually it's not good for you. Oat milk, yeah, all of it that's really highly processed is not good for you, man.
Dairy Queen ice cream is also frozen dessert product because of the dairy content.
Really? I did not know that. I don't get fucking Dairy Queen often, to be honest. I think I had it maybe like a year ago.
Plant-based foods, and like 95% of everything in the health and diet food aisle, including protein bars. Estimates say 73% of the food supply in the United States is made up of ultra-processed foods.
I totally believe that. I do.
Eating ultra-processed food is the norm for us now, and we're still in the really early stages of figuring out exactly what that's doing to us. 20 healthy volunteers were locked away from the outside world for 1 month. For 2 weeks, they ate only ultra-processed foods. For the remaining 2 weeks, they ate a diet made up of minimally processed foods. Each diet contained the exact same quantity of calories, sugars, fiber, fat, salt, and carbohydrates. The only difference was that one diet consisted only of foods that were ultra-processed. In 2 weeks, participants on the ultra-processed diet gained an average of 2 pounds, 0.9 kilograms. On the minimally processed diet, they lost the equivalent amount of weight. Now, obviously, 2 pounds in 2 weeks is nothing crazy, but think
one
about
study,
what
but
that
still
might do to you over the weeks or months or years of just consuming the normal diet that most people consume in society. This is the norm. On top of that, what makes the study so interesting is that these diets were matched for composition. So the participants eating the ultra-processed food were eating the same amount of protein, calories, sugars, etc. as the group eating the minimally processed fresh meals. And yet the ultra-processed food group were still hungrier. They were still eating more calories. Science is really starting to reveal that it's not the lack of fiber, it's not additional sugar.
It's how much you eat. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's the ultra-processed foods themselves that are the—
because you're stuffing your face and you're eating like 10 fucking cans of Pringles a week. And then you're like, oh man, I only ate a little bit. But then I had a story of a guy, hold on. This is kind of like coming back to me. I had a guy in school who ate Pringles like all the time. And I remember one day one of his friends pointed out that he ate a lot of Pringles. And the guy said, I only eat 3 cans of Pringles a week. And the guy said, no, man, you've eaten 9 cans of Pringles. He didn't realize how much he was eating and buying because he doesn't register stuffing his mouth because the Pringles are like only 3 cans. No, I'm saying this like he thought he only ate 3 cans, but he actually ate 9. It was crazy. There was another guy that got diabetes from drinking too much Coke at school. He would bring 2 liters of Coke to school and drink it. And then one day he came into school and was like, yeah, I went to the doctor and he said he had diabetes. And I'm like, what do you expect? Is it the tall cans or short cans? I can't remember. I honestly, I can't remember. I think it was like the small cans, but that's still a lot.
Problem. There's something seriously strange about the way our bodies are processing these ultra-processed foods. They seem to be dysregulating the checks and balances our bodies have to keep us from gaining excessive amounts of weight. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because it's not just about weight, it's about overall health and metabolic health and more. It's funny, as you scroll down through this article, all the related links to other ultra-processed food articles are so bad. Study finds growing evidence of link between ultra-processed food and cancer. Artificially sweetened ultra-processed foods linked to depression in women, study finds. Ultra-processed foods now account for 2/3 of calories in the diets of children and teens. By fracking food much like we frack oil, we have...
Do you wonder if, I think it will definitely affect future generations. If this doesn't change, it will stun people's growth, because you're not getting the same amount of like food or nutrients that you would, I don't know, like you're eating more to compensate for the fact that you don't feel as hungry. So you're getting like fatter to get the same amount of nutrients as someone with like a healthy diet, I guess.
Fully deconstructed the food matrix, and this is associated with many times
olive oil for low-temp cooking and avocado oil, lard, or ghee for high-temp cooking, chat.
Yeah, I use avocado oil and some olive oil.
higher risk of chronic disease and early mortality, and a degradation of global health. Before the Second World War, before we began using these new manufacturing processes, we never observed such a high level of chronic disease worldwide. So the question is, which degree of processing remains compatible with human food system sustainability and global health? At this point, it's becoming extremely hard to ignore how broken our food system is. And that's probably a good thing, because things need to change, and they need to change now. The only reason that these foods are being broken down and broken down so aggressively is because it's highly profitable. When you cook something yourself normally using fresh ingredients, the quality of those ingredients really kind of has a major impact on the final flavor of the dish. It makes or breaks it, essentially. And if you had food companies competing over the quality of their ingredients, they wouldn't make any money. You want a delicious tomato sauce, you can sell the most pizza? Well, then you've got to let the tomato ripen on the vine a little longer. You have to care for the soil and fortify it. You have to spend a little money on fresh herbs. Got to care about the quality of the olive oil in the sauce. All of these steps, they take time and they take money, and competing on quality is not the game these guys are trying to play. They'd much
margin profits overall. It's like video games, chat. If you don't like eating healthy food, at least think about it in terms of video game form. Yeah, they want to squeeze every ounce of money they can out of you, like a fucking cow.
I'd rather squeeze every last drop out of the cheapest tomato they can find, and then just inject a bland tomato paste with tomato and herb flavor and MSG and sugar, so your brain still enjoys the final product, but
granted, MSG isn't that bad. In moderation.
You just can't put your finger on why. But that fast rate of delivery and all the other modifications they make to the sensory properties of the food to tickle your dopamine receptors stop you from ever realizing that these foods actually taste just as disappointing as you'd expect them to. Well, most knowing this stuff really does fuel the desire to just keep getting healthier and healthier and healthier. So I hope it had the same effect on you. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in
Doggo! Nah, that was cool. I should sub to her. She's nice. She seems like a good talker. Collaptures chat. Collaptures in the chat.